One day in the bridge club, I was playing bridge with a friend of mine. There were four of us sitting at the table and the David Hicks issue came up. You there, Dad? Yeah. Actually, you look much better, Mum. Oh. Even under your eyes, you're not nearly as dark as you were. And this person I was playing with said to me, I cannot believe you would change your vote on that issue. I made the statement I was changing my vote. And someone sitting at the table, blue rinse Liberal. I mean, blue rinse Liberal to the point where probably can't even spell Labor, actually agreed with me. And I nearly fell off the chair. And I said, have you ever voted Labor? And she said, I am 78 years of age, never. And my husband would turn in his grave if he knew that I was voting Labor. Well, you'd never vote Liberal, would you? Your arm would fall off.
I don't mind Mr Howard. I think he's done the best he can for people. But I do believe that they should get a turn in both parties.
Yeah, you believe that too.
That's what I believe, that's my belief, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me who wins. It's not going to make a scrap of difference to my life. It's not going to make any difference to your life.
No.
But you know how strongly I feel about David Hicks. 57 years of age. Generally a Liberal voter, though I have voted Democrats. Rarely vote Labor. I have voted Labor once, I think I could say. I am able to be very self-indulgent with my vote. If you've got a mortgage and 3 kids, it's survival. You want to educate children, you want to feed the family. None of those things affect my husband and I anymore. We don't have to worry about school fees or mortgages, any financial worries at all. It's not going to affect my life whether interest rates are up or down. Bye. David Hicks's guilt or innocent to me is immaterial. It's the principle of an Australian citizen being incarcerated in a cell 23 hours a day with no light off the coast of Cuba and being held by the American military without trial. I looked at a house in here once and I thought, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't live. I couldn't live in a house that size next to it, so close to my neighbours. Personally, I think it's a very ugly estate. The US Supreme Court have said Guantanamo Bay is not legitimate. And we participated in that. We participated in an illegal act. My criticism is the fact that Hicks was not taken to trial until it became politically expedient. Howard says sorry for rate rise. Oh, he's putting a new push on it, new slant on it now. I'm always checking it. If I haven't got this on, I've got Sky News on. Hicks was heaven sent for the Australian government to use as the example of a homegrown terrorist. And they escaped any sort of investigation of that decision by making sure Hicks pleaded guilty and came back to Australia. It just distresses me to a degree that the corruption of that decision has been totally lost.
Families across the country are expected to fall victim to mortgage stress and be forced to sell their homes after the Reserve Bank announced a 0.25% interest rate rise.
Even if Hicks is no longer an election issue in the sense of people protesting in the streets about it, letters to the editor, all that has finished, the principle remains the same. We have to vote against this government to make them realise that this is totally unacceptable because we live in a democracy. I was working for Vic Garland in 72. It was a Perth minister in the McMahon government, and 6 months out it was obvious that McMahon was going to lose, even without all the hoopla of the Whitlam It's Time campaign. People's votes were locked in and it didn't really matter what happened. I think the Labor Party's probably up, and personally I think that's a good thing. And if they get thrown out in 3 years because they don't perform, what the hell? It doesn't matter. It's good for democracy. Mind you, 16 seats in Brisbane he's got to pick up 16. I mean, that's huge. I swung from the moment that Hicks was left to rot. And I think that a lot of people who perhaps feel the same way that I do locked their votes in for the same reason months or years ago. There could be tomorrow the greatest scandal about Rudd, anything you'd care to name. I would still vote Labor.